right. Welcome to another episode of Diamond Podcast. I'm your host, local realtor, entrepreneur, community advocate, Alfredo Diamond. And I'm here with a special guest who has many different titles. I'll let him go over that. Professor Tim Scales, welcome. Thank you for being here. Yes. So these titles. So what all do you do over at IUE? So what's your
I do just about anything they allow me to do. So you're correct. I have several titles, but I don't get caught up on titles as much as I do performance. And so my official title on my business card is Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship, as well as Director of the Center for Economic Education. I'm a senior lecturer in the School of Business, but I'm also what we call the FAR, which is the Faculty Athletics Representative. So we have 230 athletes. I help with the recruitment, but I also help keep them in line. So I get to help sign off on their eligibility. And so if maybe there's an academic issue, we address that type thing. For the most part, we have very few issues, and everything's very exciting. We keep a very busy schedule, with 16 different sports. We've got students out there doing something every single day.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's also a lot of other things that I do with things like IU Innovates and such. But yes, every day I feel like I have a different task and a different title.
Yeah, man. And those are two things that are important to me, athletics and, entrepreneurship. So we have a lot in common. I love coming to, talking to your class with the BOSS program.
Yep.
And I really enjoy that. And so, but, we're going to unpack that. But, last night I had a really nice experience last night at the Boys and Girls Club Smart Futures Dinner. Sure. And I just want to shout out Mr. Ray Whoopi for being acknowledged last night. Mm-hmm. She was there when I was in high school, and the way she treats people and the students. And it was really nice and heartwarming to see her be recognized last night for her years. I think they said she had a total of 51 years in education.
I can believe that, and I can tell you I, too, have an experience with her growing up in this community and being a part of this community. One of the first memories I have was the fact that I needed something special for promotion I was doing when I was the vice president at First Bank. Mm-hmm. And I went over to Richmond High School, and Ray Whoopi was the athletics director. And she was able to hook me up immediately and get me taken care of, and I've had a great working relationship with her every day since.
Wow. Yes, very special human being. And, the Boys and Girl Club is very near and dear to my heart. I was glad to be there and participate and support them. And it was a beautiful event growing up there in the Boys Club on the south side. I would like to see them kind of more connect the older Scouts Boys Club with the new one, and maybe do something special with some of the older members from my generation. I think that would be really special.
Sure, and I do want to say, though, and I don't know if you know this, but we have the Action Fund. The Tim Scales Action Fund is housed at the Wayne County Foundation, and we've had that for several years, since 2004. And what that's set up for is to help our community. And if there's somebody who wants to attend the Boys and Girls Club and maybe they can't for whatever reason financially, all we need is their name. And I say I don't want their name. The club needs their name. And then we pay for their membership through the Tim Scales Action Fund. We have it set up to be able to pay for about 50 members every single year. This year we did an exceptional campaign during the blackout for the eclipse.
Wow, okay.
And so this year we'll have 225 students that we pay the memberships for to go to the Boys and Girls Club.
Man.
So it is a special place.
That's amazing. That's amazing work, Tim. And, that's interesting because we were talking about that. When I first joined the Boys Club as a youngster, I think I had to wait till I was 5 years old. My aunt signed me up, and it was $1. Mm-hmm. It was $1 to sign up, and I'm just, as a kid, you don't think about that, but as an adult, like, really, man, you got a snack, you got to be there all day. There's adults, being there supporting you and working, and like on $1. So now it's like $15 a kid. I mean, how does that possible? How does that work?
It's incredible, and it is the best value. When you think that's the membership, it's an annual membership for that.
Yeah.
But the other thing we have to remember, too, and when we set up the Action Fund, the big thing of that was that a lot of families are more than one. So maybe a family has 3, 4, 5 children, and that membership, does get a bit pricey if you have 5 children instead of 1. So we want to make sure that it's open for everyone and not just a select few.
Wow, that's amazing. So unpack that for a second. So I'd like to know, how does a person go about setting up a fund That's kind of new to me. So if you could we can explore that for just a moment.
Sure.
Walk me
sure.
through your experience doing that.
Well, it's interesting because I think each of us have different experiences and it happens in different ways. But in 2004, I was teaching a class. It was a marketing class. And I said, let's leave campus. So I actually taught that class on Saturday mornings at the Boys and Girls Club.
Wow.
And we wanted to do something special in the community. We thought, well, why not just help the club? We were looking across the street as a group of apartments and said, well, I wonder how many kids are over there playing, watching children come to the Boys and Girls Club and not be able to come themselves. And so we thought that's just not right. So let's come up with something. And we created the Action Fund. At that time, we would just pay the membership. And so I sustained it after the class and continued it. And then Steve came to me. Steve was the executive director at the time, probably about maybe 8 years ago, said, Tim, endow this. That way, they're way beyond you. And so that's perfect. So I went down and met with Steve. We had lunch, and we talked about setting the account up at the foundation. And so we did a match fund. I put up a large sum of money. We matched it in the community. And today we have an endowed account sitting there. And the interest each year is enough to pay for more than 50 memberships, and the club gets a check. If they choose not to take the entire check that year, that's fine. That just means they get a bigger check next year. But we worked with the foundation, and any questions you have, you just call Rebecca at the Wayne County Foundation. She'll be happy to sit down and chat with you, explain how the funds work. There's certainly minimums for an endowed fund, but then how the parameters work as well.
That is so inspiring and something I'm interested in, and I want to unpack that and talk through the student side with business, entrepreneurship, the student athlete, but then also some business side. So setting this all up, you putting yourself in a position where you can give back to your community and the youth in our community. Walk me through your path to get yourself where you were in position where you were able to do this.
Sure. Well, and I think we have to understand that what we're talking about is just you and I being leaders in a community and taking care of a community. But we didn't get there without the community taking care of us.
Right.
And so I grew up here, you grew up here, and I remember at a very young age, a lot of the people who were truly inspirational to me was friends of my father's. Okay, my father was working, and he was involved with business and business leaders, and so he had certain friends that would be around me in my life, and I admired them. And Charlie Rodefeld was one of those. And Charlie Rodefeld ran several stores, and it was called Rodefeld's Auto Parts. And he was just always there. And by the time I was in second, third grade, I recall him taking me to his office on Saturday mornings.
Wow.
And I would sit behind his desk, and I would sit there and draw, and I would do things. And I would say, now I'm running this company, and while I'm doing so, this is what's going to happen. I'm in third grade, okay? And so I didn't know it at the time, but they used to put out a newsletter. And Charlie put me on the newsletter. So by the time I was in third grade, I was receiving this newsletter. I would run to the mailbox because I was receiving mail. And it was addressed to me, not my father, not my mother. It was addressed to me. And so those type of things happened, okay? And that's kind of what influenced me. And then by the time I was in middle school and such, Bob Van Pelt would come to class, and Bob was certainly a community leader in this area, and I was just like, there's going to be a day that I'm going to be Charlie Rodefeld, I'm going to be Burt Keller, and I'm going to be Bob Van Pelt, okay? And so every single day as an adult, those names are in my head, and I'm making sure that they would be proud.
Right.
And we have to go to sleep at night knowing that we're honoring what they committed.
Right. That's so true, and it reminds me a lot of my story and how I was shaped in individuals. And I think the youth nowadays need more of that. I mean, they talked last night at the event about adults mentoring a child and how you can impact a child by just giving them words of encouragement. And it sounds like you had people in your life that you looked up to early on that were able to put you in a position where you are nowadays.
Yes, but what's interesting is I don't know that they knew it. And so I think we have to be very careful because we don't know who's watching us either.
That's true.
And I spend a lot of time in the high schools, okay? And I do the BOSS program, and I mentor youth. And when I started that program, the matrix was for it to be a goal to have 2 years, 160 students. Today, it's been 18 years with over 7,000 students.
That's incredible.
I pride myself on the fact that I have shaken hands with every single one of those students. And, as we probably talk about the BOSS program a bit, but the students that was in the BOSS program this past summer, almost all of them are here at the university. I see them every single day. And they all always say, do you have time to play some ping pong, or do you have time to have this or to do this? And I will take the time and make the time, okay? Because obviously I'm an important role in their life just as they're an important role in mine.
That's incredible and so impactful. Do you still have students after they graduate still reaching out to you? You have relationships. I know you've got some. You have a relationship with a professional tennis player or several, right?
I have relationships with several professional tennis players, but I have relationships with several students and former students, and I can laugh because, just past weekend, I officiated my first wedding, okay? And that happened because two students that graduated from here in 2021 reached out to me and asked me if I would be at their wedding. And I said, I will not miss it. It was 2 hours from here, okay? And as it turns out, they called back and said, Tim, we would love for you to officiate the wedding. And I said, of course. And so it was a great 2 days to spend with them, get back in contact since 2021. But there was also nearly 20 students, former students, that also graduated in 2021 that were there. So we had photos after the wedding and such. That's such a blessed thing, okay? It's something that it was just amazing.
It's a lifetime relationship you're developing there.
Yes.
So the BOSS program, we've mentioned it a couple times. So walk us through that. So, I mean, it's not just for IUEs. Don't you have expanded to like Indianapolis and other areas as well now?
I've taken it around the world.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And so we've had it in India, we've had it in Mexico, we've had it in South Africa, in Tunisia, okay? And the BOSS program, I'm the author of it. I created it 18 years ago. And the state of Indiana came to me and said, okay, we're going to give you a grant. We would like you to put it in 9 counties, 9 high schools, 160 students over a 2-year period. I said, this is impossible to develop this curriculum, train teachers, get in there and do this. And part of the training of the teachers was to work with the teachers, not have them just do it. I would stand beside them, and I have all the way through. But instead of going 2 years, we've sustained it for the 18. And that's me going out and saying, okay, listen, we want to do this. Can you help us, okay? And getting the community backing. And it's not always financial. It's also people like yourself. I've asked you to come to the classes and work with the students, and you have, okay? Students are looking at business ideas, and that could be anything from having, a pancake house to having a coffee shop to having a reading club. I mean, different ideas. They may want to get into real estate and investments. And so we try to find the people in the community that matches up to that, okay? And in addition, yes, it takes some funding as well. But yes, we have taken it from, nothing to creating something that won #1 for North America in developing youth talent in 2021. So it's been great. We've had it in all of the Indianapolis public schools.
Wow.
And that was in partnership with the Kelly School. I got to work with 7 Kelly professors, train them on the BOSS program, and implement it in Indianapolis as well. But it always comes back to the heart right here in Wayne County, Indiana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So are you still receiving funding for the program?
When you say that, it's not set up on that. The state had it for 2 years, okay? And that was in '07 and '08. And then the city of Richmond brought me to the Redevelopment Commission, I believe in 2012, and they did it for 3 years. And so what happens is each year, I'm never sure where the funding is going to come from. So 2 years ago, the Wayne County Foundation was very kind and funded it for a year. We've also had what they call CREED, the IU CREED, which is for regional development. They funded it for a year. And so each year, I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I'm always sure that something's going to happen to bring in the funding.
How much does it cost annually to fund a program like that?
Well, and that varies as well. And when we fund it, it's not about me because I don't take a pay for it, okay? I'm a professor. I'm paid by the university. I'm fine. But what happens is for the program, we actually pay the students, the participants. And so these high school students are working, okay? They get paid. They're to be here at 9 a.m., and they are. And they work until 3, maybe 4, depends on the program that year. And so the funding goes to pay a stipend for them as well as cover their costs, whether it be their meals, whether it be getting them out in the community to meet other entrepreneurs. And so I've ran the program typically because I'll have anywhere from 10 to 25 students in a program. It could cost us anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 to $15,000 to pull it off each year.
Okay. And have you had any challenges with it's not always been easy and getting it off the ground. I mean, what challenges did you have dealing with it?
Well, I can tell you that not only has it not always been easy, it's never been easy. And so, but when it's yours and you're the entrepreneur, you work. Just like I teach the students and I teach the community that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to work. Okay.
Yeah.
This thing of thinking it's going to be an 8 to 5, it's not. Okay. No. Sometimes you're up at 5 a.m. and sometimes you're still up at 2 a.m. Okay?
Every day.
And the thing of it is, that's what I do as well. And so when I'm with the students, say from 9 to 4, that doesn't mean I started at 9. It means I sometimes was here at 6, okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm leaving at 4. I might be leaving at 9 or 10 this evening, okay? But It's my program, and I see the impact with those students, okay? I purposely keep it small. I've had others that'll say, Tim, double the size. Don't have 12 students, have 25 students. No, this isn't a class. This isn't a lecture. I want to make sure I'm right there with them. This summer, as we were touring, B&F Plastics, what happens is plastics or graphics?
Plastics.
B&F Plastics.
Plastics. Yeah.
B&F Plastics. As we were touring that, on 2 different occasions, the students said, Tim, did you see this? That's what I want. That's why I keep it small, is so that when the students have something, they know that they can say, Tim, did you see this? Tim, this. If I had 25 students going through there, I don't know that they could do that.
Right.
I want to purposely keep it small. I'm willing to do double. I'm not willing to put 25 in the program for the week, but I'm willing to do 2 weeks, 12 and 12.
So who qualifies? What's the requirements to get involved in the program?
Well, and again, we're flexible with that, because
Really?
when we're working with the Indianapolis Public Schools, we work with the Indianapolis Public Schools, and we set up the criteria with them. When I'm
Like
working with
seniors
Richmond, or
too?
whether I'm working with whatever I'm working with, I work with the individuals I'm working with, and we set that criteria. Like when we worked with the Redevelopment Commission, for instance, the requirement they put was they wanted some technology in it. And so we wanted to make sure that their business idea had a form of technology. That could have been a phone app, that could have been a website, but a form of technology, okay? So each criterion is going to be a bit different in each program. Typically, for the program I just recently ran for the high schools, I would like them to be seniors transitioning into university.
Okay.
But it could be a junior going into their senior year. It just depends. Here's what happens. In the very beginning, it could have been a freshman, sophomore, junior. But what I found was that we gave them a good solid 2-week program. They had their ideas, and then they were on their own. What I want is to make sure now that we get those juniors transitioning into senior, or senior transitioning into university, so that we keep them.
Right.
We have them. So you graduate high school and you come in the BOSS program, we get together for that week, that 2 weeks, we learn, you grow, and I'm here for you for 4 years. And we get to work together every single day. We get to share ideas. We get to develop those ideas, and we develop that talent right here in Wayne County.
Absolutely love that. I love that. I love the program. I love supporting it, and I love that you do that. So, shifting gears, you're going back to your athletic side of your day-to-day task.
Right.
So, the student athlete. What and I'm involved out here, and I know one of the topics is how student housing, and specifically for athletes and attracting athletes into the campus. What are some challenges that they're facing right now with the housing with the student athlete?
Well, I think you have to understand that our campus, Indiana University East, is a commuter campus. We have been, and we continue to be. Okay, so we don't have housing. We don't own housing.
Okay.
But what we do is we work with the students, and we work with all students. They don't even have to just be athletes. But as we're recruiting students, we're working with students. We discuss housing. Okay. And we have to look at what housing is available in the community. Being a commuter, we do have some students that still stay at home with their folks, and maybe they commute. I've had students that commute an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Typically, our athletes, though, they do want to stay. They want to be more with their teams, because most people don't realize how much time it is to be an athlete, okay?
Yeah.
It's not just a 2 or 3 hour that they have a match or a meet or a run. It's actually a lot of practice and conditioning and team building, the whole bit. Many times it's every day, and it's sometimes anywhere from 2 to 4 hours in a day.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
I've had athletes that do things in the morning and then again at night, and on the weekends. So I mean, it's a lot. So we want to get them as close as possible. Housing's an issue. Okay, and I think that the city's doing a great job right now of addressing that issue, and it's an issue for everybody, not just the university.
Yeah.
But I think that the city is doing a great job of trying to make some more things happen. But certainly we have some friends here on 27 with a couple different apartment complexes that our students have been able to live in.
Okay.
But they get creative, and I've got to be honest with you, that's a part of the learning. That's, oftentimes I survey the students. I'll ask the students, because I am so excited every single day to be on campus, okay?
Yeah.
And I know why I'm excited. I'm excited to work with the students. But those freshmen that are coming in, they are equally as excited. So I sit down with the freshmen and I ask, why are you excited to be at the university? What is it that's getting you so excited? And almost always the answer, adulting. It's the first time they really get to feel like they're an adult, okay? It's not an age thing. It's an adulting thing. It's being able to have their own place and make their own decisions and their time management. But, it's interesting because they figure it out. We show them the apartments. We talk to them about it. Maybe their first year they have a tendency to go to the apartments, but then they start figuring out, well, what if we rented a house? Or what if we did this? Or what if we did this?
Yeah.
They truly grow up in our presence.
Wow. So your involvement with the athletes, and talk about that. So what level are you involved with the athletes day to day?
Well, certainly as a professor, teaching them in the classroom,
Yeah.
okay? And I take a lot of great pride in the fact that I spend probably, in my average, I have 3 to 5 recruits a week that I meet with for about an hour to an hour and a half
Every
each.
week?
Every week. And that's with a recruit and their families typically.
Wow.
Okay? And it's exciting because if you've come to my office, you've seen my office, you see a lot of jerseys, a lot of shoes, tennis rackets, you name it. It's all in my office. It's on display. We say it's my office. It's not. It's our office, okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of times as those students are graduating, they're leaving something behind on display so that when I come in the mornings, I think of them, okay? And it's a great day. But then for the recruits, they're looking around my office and thinking, yeah, wait till I have something in here,
Yeah.
So it's a motivational and exciting thing for them as well. We're in it together. We're a family, okay? And so just like your family and any other family, you experience the goods and the bads. If they're struggling, I want to send them in the right direction. If they're saying, I've got to write a paper and I don't know where to start,
Yeah.
maybe they need to go to the writing center. Maybe if they're struggling with a speech, maybe they want somebody to talk to. I'll be happy to listen to their speech and critique it and get them ready. I even have speech down in the virtual reality room. And so I can put them in there and they can practice it a dozen times. It will score them each time until they get a score that they like. And then they're ready, okay? So basically, I'm the connector to a lot of their resources.
Okay.
But it's just, we're building that relationship of their success.
Wow. And your enthusiasm, I'm sure, it transcends through the students and their success. And I know when I was, a student, I was probably first generation going to college. I was really unsure what to do, scared, nervous. So it's a comforting to know that students have someone like you, and I'm sure there are plenty others on campus that support the students like that. So,
And now you mentioned first gen, and we have a lot of first gen, and certainly we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. But I get that even with people who are maybe even second, third,
Really?
okay? Because it's about you,
Yeah.
okay? And yes, maybe your parents and maybe different people in your family might have gone to college and they shared their experience, but what is yours?
Yeah.
Things have changed, okay? We have a lot of different things going on today. And so I think each of us are having our first time experience.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting.
Yeah. Tim, I don't think I've ever really asked you this, but I know you had a background in banking, and just want to tap into some of that here just a moment before we wrap up here. But what made you transition from banking into being a professor?
That's a great question. I have to share with you that every single morning of my career, whether it was my banking career or as a professor, when I wake up in the morning, I cannot wait to get my day started. And at the end of the day, I hate to see it end, okay? And for all of the years that I was in banking, which was 18 years, that's how I felt. I've now been in as a professor for 18 as well, and I still feel that way. Here's what happened. I finished up one of my graduate degrees, and I received a call from the university, and they said, Tim, would you like to teach an econ class in the evenings? And I said, that was not my favorite topic. So tell you what, let me teach a marketing class.
Yeah.
Because I love marketing. And they said, well, how about both? And so for 7 years, I would be at the bank in the daytime. I'd come out here in the evenings, and I would teach a marketing class, and I would also teach an econ class.
Wow.
Loved both of them. Loved that 7 years experience, okay?
Wow.
Then it became a time where I had to make a decision. Are you going to be at the bank or are you going to be at the university? And oftentimes people said I was starting to look like a professor, but at this university, they said, you look like a banker, okay? So I was putting the two together, and to be honest with you, it's still that way after 18 years of separation. However, I had to make that choice, and my choice was that I love being a professor. There's just nothing like the energy of the students, the opportunities a university provides, being able to do your research, being able to publish, being able to speak, everything you can do to develop a community and make it great, make the students great, make yourself great. It's an amazing experience.
Wow. Hey, you've got your background in banking. If you could share one financial tip with someone out there that you think that can help them, put them on the right track to better savings, financial freedom. What would that one quick tip be?
Well,
that
and
you
you
take
speak
with
of the financial freedom, and I think that's it. I think you got to work smart, okay? And people need to be able to teach you that and show you that. I've not carried debt. My whole adult life, I had a mortgage 5 years, okay?
That's
Most people
incredible.
can't say that. But what you do is you work smart. And so that first house that I purchased, for instance, it wasn't the house I wanted. It wasn't my forever home.
Right.
It needed to be transitioned, okay? I purchased it. I did the work myself. I didn't hire painters. I couldn't hire painters. I
Right.
did it myself.
Right.
Was it the best paint job? No. But it was mine, okay?
Yeah.
And what happens is I moved in there, I did the work, and then when I sold it, I made money. Then I purchased another one and did the same thing, okay? And I didn't have the best homes and the best neighborhoods every time. Yes, I could have gotten a loan and probably had much more home.
Yeah,
But
but
instead
debt.
of getting the loans,
Yeah.
I paid for it.
Yeah.
And so I think working smart, saving, okay? Listen, I was saving from the time I was 5 years old. I bought my first stocks when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
And so, and it's just because I worked smart, and I'm happy to sit down and work with anybody and show them how to work smart as well.
Well, I would love to sit down and pick your brain and share strategies. I would love to do that. So, we're wrapping up, and I just want to tell you I can't thank you enough for being here, Professor Scales. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to having you back down the road, and I just want to tell you I wish you continued success and blessings, and I wish you the best. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That wraps up another show, Diamond Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.